The South African government has maintained its highest state of alert across the Eastern Cape province as a series of devastating cut-off low-pressure systems and severe winter storms trigger widespread flash flooding, massive structural collapses, and emergency mass evacuations. The catastrophic weather, which initially battered the coast in May, intensified severely into early June 2026, leading to a declared national state of disaster. With preliminary damage estimates already surpassing R6 billion, local authorities, humanitarian groups, and emergency personnel are working around the clock to prevent a widening humanitarian crisis. The South African Weather Service, SAWS, has maintained a critical orange level 8 warning for disruptive rainfall across coastal and low-lying regions. Compounding the crisis, a massive drop in temperatures has brought heavy snowfall to the high-lying western mountainous regions, creating a rare and multi-layered climatic emergency. The manufacturing and logistical hub of Nelson Mandela Bay, which includes the major cities of Gqeberha, formerly Port Elizabeth, and Kariega, has been hit hardest. Saturated ground conditions from previous rainfall meant that consecutive downpours instantly turned urban roads into raging rivers. Dozens of densely populated informal settlements have been submerged. Floodwaters tore through fragile shacks, sweeping away personal belongings, livestock, and homes. The Demist and Jubilee drainage canal systems have reached absolute capacity, overflowing into commercial zones and nearby residential quarters. West of Nelson Mandela Bay, the Kouga Municipality has faced unprecedented water volumes. Residents in these informal communities woke up to find their entire neighborhoods transformed into vast lakes. Water levels reached chest height in several zones, requiring immediate boat rescues. Water levels at the vital Kouga Dam surged past 113% of its total capacity. The massive spillway overflow sent a destructive torrent down the Gamtoos River Valley, prompting urgent forced evacuations of agricultural communities. The economic and infrastructural toll across the Eastern Cape is immense. Transport links, medical services, and utility networks have been severely compromised. The Eastern Cape Department of Transport was forced to close the critical N2 national route connecting Bluewater Bay to the Gqeberha Central Business District, CBD. Violent coastal swells up to 5 meters high actively threw giant boulders and marine debris onto the asphalt. In the interior, dozens of low-water bridges are completely submerged, while severe rockfalls and sinkholes have physically isolated rural towns. To guarantee the safety of children and civil servants, the Eastern Cape Department of Education suspended all public schooling across Nelson Mandela Bay, Kouga, Kouga, and the Sundays River Valley. Meanwhile, critical healthcare delivery faced a blow as major clinics, including the Walmer Community Health Center, were swamped by rising waters, forcing patients to be diverted to regional hospitals. Over 14 major sectors in the metro lost electricity. The state utility, Eskom, alongside municipal engineering teams, made the strategic decision to cut power and isolate heavily flooded substations. This measure prevented catastrophic short circuits and eliminated the deadly risk of localized electrocution for residents wading through floodwaters. Beyond structural damage to towns, the disaster has struck a direct blow to South Africa's agricultural economy, particularly the global citrus export market. The Gamtoos Valley, specifically around the town of Potensi, is the heart of the Eastern Cape's citrus production. The flooding of the Gamtoos River has completely drowned thousands of hectares of high-yield orchards. According to the South African Citrus Growers Association, CGA, the floods hit at a critical early harvesting window for mandarins. The fast-flowing waters caused severe topsoil erosion, uprooting mature fruit trees and wrecking private farm roads. Preliminary assessments from the CGA show an immediate 5% drop in expected export volumes from the affected areas. Farmers are facing skyrocketing operational pressures from rising diesel costs and disrupted shipping logistics, transforming what was expected to be a highly profitable season into an exercise in survival. Amid the devastation, a massive coordinated rescue operation is underway across the province. More than 1,500 displaced citizens have been rescued from rising waters and relocated to dozens of makeshift evacuation centers, primarily set up in public schools and community halls. Kouga Executive Mayor Hatting Bornman confirmed that local municipalities are distributing emergency mattresses, thick blankets, and hot meals to families who have lost everything. The National Sea Rescue Institute, NSRI, has deployed specialized swiftwater rescue teams utilizing inflatable vessels and high-clearance 4x4 vehicles to reach vulnerable households trapped by deep water. Concurrently, the renowned disaster relief non-governmental organization, Gift of the Givers, has mobilized extensive logistical convoys. The organization is providing immediate humanitarian aid, including clean drinking water, hygiene kits, baby formula, and food parcels to communities entirely cut off from commercial supply lines. Acknowledging that many families cannot return to destroyed homes, the National Ministry of Human Settlements has announced emergency intervention plans. Officials are identifying state-owned land outside flood risk zones with the commitment to build permanent or robust temporary housing units within 30 days for registered flood victims. The immediate outlook remains highly volatile. Government spokesperson Kusela Ranti has strongly urged the public to stay off the roads and strictly comply with localized evacuation orders. Saturated catchments mean that even brief showers can generate immediate life-threatening secondary flash flooding. With an 80% probability of continued rain along the coast and heavy snowfall moving into interior districts like Jokabi, the disaster is far from over. Disaster management teams will remain on maximum alert as the province begins the long, difficult road to recovery. The Groot River Dam is overflowing significantly for the first time this year amid severe weather conditions, following persistent rainfall over the past 24 hours. This comes after the South African Weather Service, SAWS, issued Level 8 weather warnings earlier this week. Despite school closures amidst reports of mudslides and rockfalls in the Western Cape, the Garden Route Municipality has reported persistent rainfall over the last 24 hours. Heavy showers were reported overnight. On Wednesday, 3rd June 2026, 93 community members were evacuated from Rust and Welgeluk and are now being accommodated at the Toekomsrus Community Hall. According to the Garden Route Municipality, no major weather-related incidents have occurred, despite several weather-related impacts across the district. Motorists have been urged to exercise extreme caution as water is pooling in several urban areas, causing some manhole covers to lift due to pressure from stormwater systems, including along the N2 between Sedgefield and George, shortly after Waves Garage. Multiple low-lying bridges and river crossings are flooded, making roads dangerous for motorists to attempt crossings. As a result, several roads remain closed due to flooding, rockfalls, landslides, and other weather-related hazards. Most road closures are due to flooding at low-lying bridges and river crossings. Rockfalls have also been reported on the N12 near Chandelier Game Lodge, Nature's Valley, Whittedrift, the road has been closed, and in the Caimans area. Several fallen trees have also been reported along Saasveld Road, but have since been cleared by George Municipality. However, according to the Garden Route Municipality, more trees are expected to fall as the area remains extremely dangerous to travel through. The Garden Route Dam is overflowing for the first time this year, while localized flooding has been reported in Nature's Valley. Emergency teams are reportedly continuing to monitor vulnerable areas across the district. River levels remain under close observation, as the water levels in the Kurbooms, Kniesna, Great Brack, Candelars, and Oliphants river systems have significantly increased. Higher inflows from the Gamka Dam and increased releases from the Stompdrift Dam are also being closely monitored. According to the Garden Route Municipality, emergency services are conducting regular assessments of communities and low-lying areas adjacent to these river systems. Road authorities will continue to assess the road network to provide updates as conditions change. Residents along the Garden Route have been advised to avoid flooded areas, low water crossings, and riverbanks, and to remain updated on official weather conditions and safety advisories published by authorities. A limited number of South African citrus growers have still not regained access to their orchards to assess the damage of the May floods in the Western and Eastern Cape. The South African Citrus Growers Association, CGA, said this means that preliminary damage estimates will likely rise over time. Also, damage in the form of fruit drop from trees often has a delayed impact that cannot be immediately assessed. Initial assessments by the CGA indicate that recent severe weather will cause a decrease of at least 5% in expected export estimates from flood-damaged areas. The areas are Potensi in the Eastern Cape and Citrusdal and Boland in the Western Cape, CGA noted. To make things worse, heavy rains and high winds have again battered the Southern and Eastern Cape this week. The CGA said the mandarin crop has been impacted the most by the floods, as the country's main production regions were affected, with harvesting activities interrupted at a critical early stage. Most affected farms have worked hard to recover from flood-related delays, and while export volumes have been revised downward, the integrity and reliability of supply to international markets remains intact, the association stated. In general, orchards situated close to rivers bore the brunt of the flooding, while most orchards received rainfall without damage and are able to supply high-quality fruit. Dr. Boitshoko Netshabele, chief executive of the CGA, said thoughts remain with farming communities across these regions, many of whom have over the past weeks been dealing with both immediate losses and the longer-term implications of infrastructure damage. The timing of the rain and storms was particularly challenging, as the citrus season was just beginning to gain momentum, he said. While it remains too early to exactly quantify the cost of the floods, it is clear that orchards, farm structures, and road infrastructure have been affected, mostly around Potensi in the Eastern Cape. The CGA said that, in general, the season is not running later than last year and is around 2 to 3 weeks ahead. Earlier this month, the CGA welcomed the immediate declaration of a national state of disaster. It also now supports the call of fellow agriculture associations such as the South African Table Grape Industry, SATI, for both provincial and national government authorities to provide increased disaster relief and recovery support to producers and rural communities. The most severe impact from the floods was felt in the Kouga Municipality in the Eastern Cape, particularly in the Gamtoos Valley around Potensi. Citrus orchards have been flooded, some to such an extent that topsoil has been washed away, trees uprooted and roads destroyed. In the Western Cape, areas including Citrusdal and the Boland also experienced intense rainfall. While water levels in Citrusdal were higher than during the two previous flood events in 2023 and 2024, the overall damage appears less severe, with key access routes remaining operational. This is largely due to the infrastructure improvement and river works implemented by the provincial government over the past 2 years, said Ntshabel. These efforts have saved lives and safeguarded a citrus export season for the Olifants River Valley. The extreme weather challenges come at an already difficult time for growers, who are navigating global disruptions due to the war in the Middle East. Rising input costs, especially diesel and fertilizer, as well as significantly higher shipping costs, are also exerting pressure on the citrus industry. What had been shaping up as a strong season is now requiring a high degree of adaptability from producers and exporters alike, Ntshabel added. Meanwhile, at Walmer Town Hall in Nelson Mandela Bay, mothers sit with plastic bags of belongings, while children play on mattresses supplied by emergency services. Many are hungry, having fled before dinner as floodwaters rushed into their homes. Emergency teams arrived at 10 a.m. with rolls and soup. Many children are left at the hall to play, supervised by community leaders, while parents go and check on their belongings. We slept here last night. It was fine, but we slept without food. We didn't eat before we slept. My house is full of water. Even the yard is flooded. If anyone can help us with clothes, food, and school uniforms, we really need help, said 48-year-old Yandisa Sulo, who fled rising floodwaters in Airports Valley with her 4 children. Across the hall, community leader Dolly Makata said, "In fact, the people are affected by the rain. Some of them, the houses, the water just coming in. Some of them, the houses are collapsing because of the wet. So, 50 sleep here last night, and they've got nothing to eat." This scene reflects a wider disaster across the Eastern Cape, where persistent rainfall has triggered flooding and infrastructure strain. In Nelson Mandela Bay, Executive Mayor Babalwa Lobishe said full disaster operations are active, with 671 people sheltered across the metro. "We acknowledge the hardship being experienced by our communities, and we remain committed in supporting every affected household," she said, adding, "We are grateful that there are no fatalities that have been reported, no injuries to anyone at this stage." The municipality recorded 84 incidents, including flooded homes and power outages. Road closures remain in Motherwell, Kariega, Walmer, New Brighton, and Fairview. Gift of the Givers founder Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman said teams mobilized early. Gift of the Givers teams went into full disaster mode on Monday the 1st of June when South African Weather Services announced Level 6 to Level 8 warning for floods and weather conditions running from Mossel Bay right up to Nelson Mandela Bay and onwards to Buffalo City, he said. Suleiman confirmed teams include search, rescue, boat, and mobile units. Emergency halls are accommodating 548 people in Kouga and 600 people in Gqeberha. In the Gamtoos Valley, authorities are monitoring rising river systems. Kouga Executive Mayor Hadding Bornman noted that conditions remain dynamic but are not yet critical. "We are monitoring our rivers very closely. The water levels aren't rising as fast as we expected, which is a great thing. At this stage, all is still fine," he said, while cautioning that the Krom and Gamtoos systems remain under observation. Gamtoos Water CEO Rionette Koleski warned that upstream inflows keep the system under pressure. "The system is filling slowly at this moment in time. The volume is increasing," she said. "The Groot River is the unknown. Residents in low-lying areas should be vigilant and take note of local authority instructions. Uncertainty remains due to the unpredictable nature of the Groot River catchment." Inland, Kouga Municipality spokesperson Aneli Myakula urged caution as heavy rain impacts Makonda, confirming the Joint Operations Committee, JOC, is active. Motorists must heed warning signs on affected roads as some routes remain hazardous, while mop-up operations continue, Myakula said. In the Garden Route District, persistent rainfall has caused widespread disruption, submerging roads and rising river systems. Gerhard Otto, head of disaster management, confirmed the multi-agency command center remains active with emergency teams on standby. Saturated ground, rockfalls, and landslides forced closures on key routes like the N2. Multiple rivers are under observation, and the Garden Route Dam is overflowing. "We once again want to caution people not to cross rivers. We had to save a woman and 2 children that tried to cross the Druiwi River near Zawa. Fortunately, they could be saved by EMS staff on duty. We are warning people not to do that as they're putting not only their lives, but also the lives of the people that need to come and rescue them in danger," Otto said. A total of 93 community members displaced from Rust and Welgeluk remain sheltered at Toekomsrus Community Hall. Back at Walmer Town Hall in Gqeberha, families face an uncertain wait as they look ahead once again to assessing the damage to their homes and belongings after having just mopped up from the recent floods last month.